According to NBA insider Shams Charania, the Detroit Pistons looking to add a veteran potentially at that wing spot, and they could be interested in a Tobias Harris trade. That's what's coming up on today's Philadelphia 76ers Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr., and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for hopping on board and joining the show. And if you want these types of videos year-round for free, then make sure you lock us in and hit that subscribe button, because we try to give you the most informative, entertaining, and insightful Sixers talk right here on YouTube. So type me if you're subscribed, and if you're not, make sure you hit that sub button so that you don't miss a video right here on the channel. So let's talk about Tobias Harris here. Fittingly enough, we ripped him here on the show. We've done a couple of videos talking about a potential Toby trade, and what has he gone out and done the last 3 games, especially without Joel Embiid in the lineup, averaging 27 points per. I'm glad you're watching the show, Tobias Harris, because somebody needed to get you in line, because up to that point, you have been playing bad basketball. I want you to make some money, and I want you to provide some good stats and good play for the Sixers team. He's finally been able to do that. Also, obviously, want to talk about this tweet that's been up on your screen here for a few moments. Detroit Pistons actively looking to trade for a 4-man. I'm told some names to keep an eye on: Pascal Siakam, OG Anunoby, Tobias Harris, and Miles Bridges. That direct quote coming from the aforementioned Shams Charania. And then there's this from Paul Hudrick of Liberty Ballers, formerly of NBC Sports Philadelphia. Does a good job talking Sixers hoops. He said, I say this seriously, Tobias Harris would be the best fit. The other guy might be more impactful on the court to varying degrees, but ask young guys who have been on the Sixers about the impact that Tobias Harris has had on them. Now, of course, you can share your thoughts about this tweet and this report from Shams down in the comment section, but I happen to agree with what Hudrick had to say here, because when you think about the Pistons organization, they're on the wrong side of history right now. They have lost an NBA single-season record 27 games in a row. Keep in mind, don't yell at us, we're recording this on Thursday. They do play tonight against the Boston Celtics, and most likely Detroit is going to lose again. The Philadelphia 76ers technically have the longest losing streak in NBA history during the process era, as that record carried over from one season to the next of 28 games in a row. So hopefully the Pistons able to get another L. Detroit dysfunction, it's been going on, and hopefully the Sixers no longer will be remembered for that losing streak during what was a very difficult time for basketball lovers in this city. But with the Pistons, they could honestly use a veteran, and they could use a leader, a guy who can change the culture, a guy who can help get the organization, which was this once proud team with Isaiah Thomas back in the day, and with a couple of other marquee players. And then in the early 2000s, that Pistons team and that organization led by former Sixers coach Larry Brown was a really good squad. Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, Tayshaun Prince. They had a couple, Rip Hamilton from Coatesville, Rasheed Wallace from Philadelphia. Those teams were really, really good. Honestly, since then, though, they have been irrelevant. And Harris is a player, as Hudrick said, as we've talked about here on the show, who is always available, who is a very good cultural type of player, A-class act, who works his ass off. He's always in the lab trying to improve his game. And I think it makes sense for Detroit to add a veteran like Tobias Harris, who actually played with the Pistons from 2015 to 2018. You look at the numbers this year so far through 30 matchups, 17 points per game, 6 rebounds per just under 3 dimes, 51% from the floor, 37% from 3. Harris got off to a good start to start the year initially. Then he was really bad for several weeks, even kind of including a couple of months. And then last 3 games, he's been on that heater. Obviously, we're just getting ramped up here on the show. Plenty more to discuss and get into. But do you want the Sixers to trade for Tobias Harris? Type T for trade, type K for keep. Sound off with your opinions and what you think about this down in the comment section. So far this year, Harris been up and down. And so far throughout his Sixers career, I think that pretty much characterizes Harris's tenure in Philadelphia. Good moments, Bad moments. In the pressure cooker, in the playoffs, he's gone missing in the witness protection program, but to his credit, he has been better of late. You look at what he's done over his last 3 games. 22 points against the Magic without Embiid. Philadelphia able to pick up their first win of the season without the player who I think should be the NBA MVP as of right now. 27-7, 2 dimes, 10 of 23, 1 of 5 from 3. Against Miami on Christmas, 27 points, 10 of 18 from the floor, 4 of 7 from long range. And then before that against the Toronto Raptors, that's when Embiid hurt the ankle. He came back, was dominant, 33 points. That was the first time in the history of the Sixers 3 players had more than 30 points, with Maxey, Embiid, Harris, all with 30 burgers, 33, 8, 7, 12 of 23 from the hardwood, 5 of 9 from three-point range. But as we have said, really the problem with Tobias Harris has been what? Consistency. He's capable of some good games from time to time, but can he keep it going? And the track record when he's played on good teams, he struggles to do that. Can Philly win the finals with Harris as their third best player? If Daryl Morey asks himself this question and he says no, that's why he should go out and he should make a deal for a player like DeJounte Murray, who we've talked about. Check that video out. It came out on Wednesday. A player like OG Anunoby. Y for yes or N for no. Coming up next, who could the Sixers get in return if they trade Harris to the Detroit Pistons? We're going to dive into that. But first, make sure you dive into your Factor meals. And in the process, if you use our link and our code, NBA Chat 50, you get 50% off. America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. All of these meals can be delivered straight to your door. There are so many different options, from protein-heavy meals with a lot of quality meats to vegetarian meals, but you can also get your appetite fulfilled for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We've been popping up a couple of the meals on your screen right here. They're healthy, they're dietitian approved. All you have to do, everything's delivered, it's already prepared and cooked to perfection. You stick it in the microwave, you heat them up, and you enjoy them, and you get to save a lot of money. Limited time for this deal. factormeals.com/NBAchat50. Hop on board. We'll put that link for you because we care about you down below in the comment section and in the description of this video. Here is our idea for a Tobias Harris trade. And I'm not sure how much the Sixers are realistically going to be able to get back for him if it's a team-for-team swap. You had a third team in there, maybe you can get a better package. For this trade idea right here, it's a 2-team deal. Philadelphia, Detroit. 76ers get Bojan Bogdanovic, really solid player. Joe Harris, who I think his best days are behind him, and maybe he was never all that good outside of a couple of good moments with Brooklyn. And then Monte Morris, who isn't a bad guard to kind of come in off the bench a little bit of salary filler too if you want to make that deal happen. And then the Pistons would receive Tobias Harris, the marquee name in this deal. Furkan Korkmaz finally gets his wish after 3 to 4 to 5 trade demands that have never been fulfilled for him. And maybe he can play a little bit more with Detroit because he can get his wishes granted in that manner. And then you give away Danuel House as well, who has been spotty as far as his rotation minutes from head coach Nick Nurse. Would you accept this trade right here? A for accept, D for decline. A couple of really good poll questions thanks to our guy producer Chip. So answer those questions in the comments. If you don't like our trade proposal, why don't you get creative? Why don't you become an executive producer of sorts, like producer Chip, and you can drop your trades down below in the comments. You never know. Some of the stuff that you say, we've been able to use some of those subject matters and those talking points in some of our shows. Why Detroit does the deal, they get a veteran leader in Tobias Harris, who alongside Furkan Korkmaz and Danuel House, all on expiring deals. So if Detroit wants to get the culture right, and they want to go from just being abysmal to a little bit better, and they want to give some of their young players hope who just don't have any confidence at all. That's apparent when you watch the Pistons this year. They get Harris. And if you don't want to keep him, you can do that as well. He's on an expiring deal. So too is Korkmaz, who's making about $5 million per year. And why Philadelphia would do the deal, I'd still be concerned about the Sixers' defense. Harris isn't a good defensive player. Bogdanovic and Harris aren't any better, but Bogdanovic and Harris improve your spacing tremendously. And Harris can shoot the three. Chase, he's shooting 37% from deep. Yes, he is, but he needs the ball. And sometimes the offense gets clunky when you're trying to get him involved, and sometimes he just looks like an odd fit because he's trying to get downhill and create things when they're not necessarily there because he knows he needs to be able to catch a little bit of a rhythm. With Bogdanovic and Harris, those are catch-and-shoot guys, and Bogdanovic can create a little bit better than what he gets credit for. Morris, currently injured, but solid guard depth right there. If you made it to the end of the show, reel, one, roll, call, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Sixers. Type reel one down below, and as you go down there, make sure you hit that subscribe button because I'll tell you this, we've been putting out about 3-4 videos a week at this point. I'm really busy covering the National Football League, but once the NFL season dies down and the NBA season gets ratcheted up, we're doing live shows. We're doing watch parties, even more content coming your way, and you do not want to miss it.